Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, King Life Dream, and holy shit guys, it's a video! It's been like 4 months and I'm finally uploading a video! Right? It's been fucking forever. And I know what some of you are thinking, holy crap, he can't be serious. He's walking away from Soulz? No, that's not possible. I mean, it can't be. Soulz made him. Well, unfortunately, yeah. It's the truth. As the title says, I'm stepping away from the Soulz series. And hopefully this video will be a good explanation why. And in the background, well, enjoy the content I will be uploading from now on. Final Fantasy 14 dungeons, maybe some PvP if I can get them to proc and work, as well as Destiny videos that I'll be uploading. But we'll talk about that later. For now, I'm gonna get into the main reason why a lot of you probably clicked on this video. Yes, I am leaving the Dark Souls franchise. Yes, it was a hard decision to make. I really had to sit down and, talk with myself about this. I mean, sure, some people are like, oh, it's just a game, man. Not just a game, it's a way of life. You shut the hell up. But I had to really search myself, because yes, Dark Souls made King Life Dream. Dark Souls made who I am. I mean, I shouldn't just turn my back on this franchise, and believe me, I don't. I don't just want to turn and leave a gaming franchise that I have fallen in love with, and something that has just shown me a lot of things that I never knew existed. But Dark Souls 3 is ultimately, in my opinion, not the game that us Souls players needed or deserved. My reasoning behind this is, well, while I have never played Demon's Souls, I have watched Epic Name Bros playthrough, and before you ask, I have seen all of them. I have seen all of them from beginning to end. The ones he never finished, and then the one he finally finished. I've seen them all. Oh, excuse me. I played Dark Souls 1. I stumbled upon that game completely by accident, but thank God I found it. It stopped me from playing Call of Duty. And I fell in love with this franchise. Well, I fell in love with the game, I fell in love with the story, I fell in love with the characters, I fell in love with everything, the community. And I said that I was going to establish myself, a name for myself in the community, and I wanted to do that through PvP, which I somewhat did. And it was because of Dark Souls that I ended up getting an Elgato card. And I wanted to start uploading videos. But by the time I had done that, Dark Souls 2 had rolled around, and I thought to myself, alright, this is where I'm going to start. This is what I'm going to do. And I started uploading Dark Souls 2 footage. Just some fun stuff. Some invasions, wonky moments that happen where I can gank spank and other things like that. And I thought, I can do better than this. I can do much better than this. And so I gave my handed commentaries, and while I'm still bumpy at that, I feel I'm getting better at them. I'm not stuttering as much as I used to. I'm not having to collect myself as much as I used to. I'm able to continue to roll out on a dime, so to say. I know what I'm talking about. I don't need a script. I just boom. I know what I'm going to talk about, and I do it. Excuse me. Ooh. Ugh. That milkshake went down wrong. Anyways, and Dark Souls 2, as much as I liked it, there was just so much I didn't like about it. Dark Souls 1 to me was a much superior game. To a point. I mean, I just love Dark Souls 1 over Dark Souls 2. I didn't like Dark Souls 2's mechanics. There was a lot of things wrong with it. There were things that kind of just really messed with the story and didn't have much to do with it. While I understand it's supposed to be a new land, new era, and stuff like that, it just didn't click with me. But I kept playing it because I wanted to continue to try and make a name for myself. I wanted to try and get known in the community, because back then I was looking up at people like guyz, Bro with the Fro, Project Mayhem, Mr. I Won't Forget, Dropout Dragon, all those guys, and I wanted to try and attain some of that status. I wanted to be known. I want to try and get myself out there and, you know, have people see me. Holy crap, it's King Life Drain. And while I have achieved some sort of claim to fame, I've gotten my fair share of people going, holy shit, I know you from YouTube, or I know you from Twitch, I've seen you in blah blah blah, I've seen you in blah blah blah's or X's fight stream. But I was never really able to attain it because life kept getting in the way, and my uploading schedule has just never been consistent. I've never been able to consistently pump out videos or stream. But that didn't stop me. I continued to play with other streamers where that's where my name became sort of known. People began knowing me through fight clubs and stuff like that. And when Dark Souls 3 was announced, I was happy because the game was going back to basics. And I felt that I could really start climbing and establish my name in a higher mantle with a game that had more of the old school mechanics, I guess, for lack of a better sentence. And Dark Souls 3 just, it picked me up, carried me through the door bridal style. We had a fun honeymoon, came back from vacation, you know, the marriage settled in, and then I really looked at what I was with, and I didn't like it. There was so much about Dark Souls 3 that I just didn't like. For one, to me, again, what you're about to hear is completely my opinion. I am not bashing anyone who likes the game. I am not insulting Bandai Namco or From Software for the game they made. These are just my personal opinions on the game. I felt the story was just very heavily fan-serviced for the Dark Souls 1 players. A lot of the areas were huge references to Dark Souls 1, which I don't think a lot of people understood, because more new people came to Dark Souls 3 than anything. But I digress. It was a huge fan service, like in terms of locations and some enemies and things like that. And it kind of, you know, retconned, I think is the word. It completely skewed what we knew as canon in Dark Souls 1. And mind you, I use canon loosely because being canon is left heavily to interpretation, and when I'm saying canon, I guess I'm using it in the sense of what the community agreed on. What the community came to, you know, sort of agree was canon through item descriptions, dialogue, and things like that. And one of the biggest examples was Dragon Slayer Ornstein stayed behind to guard the cathedral in Dark Souls 1, but Dark Souls 3, Ornstein is there. Now, while the argument of the worlds are convoluted because Solar says it himself, I don't think that's how it worked, honestly. But what they're expecting us to believe is the Ornstein from Dark Souls 1 was an illusion, which I can't accept. Ornstein, I don't want to get too into that. That's for another video. And like I said, the areas were very... Excuse me, I'm sorry, that was my phone going off. A lot of the areas were very fan service. Like there's Anne Orlando, even though it's a little bit of it. There's the Smoldering Lake, which is very much like Ash Lake and a little bit of Isla combined. The Archdragon Peak, I want to say it's... But, sorry, I lost my train of thought with that text. But, and another fan service is they combine a lot of Dark Souls 2 stuff with the story. Like there's Laddersmith Gilligan, there's Alva, the Faram. Like it's heavily, again, it's just heavily fan service in terms of they're trying to squeeze everything in here so people can have something to like. But my biggest problem is the PvP where I thrived in Souls games. Dark Souls 3's PvP was, and still is, in my opinion, mind you, broken. I can't really play it for long because I just get frustrated at the fact of that the game's PvP has so many mechanics that should be there but aren't. For one, poise. Poise is how many hits you can take before you stagger. But I've had a few people tell me that poise in Dark Souls 3 is your hyper armor, and that's not what it's supposed to be. And fighting style. They implemented two of the worst things from Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne. Again, my opinion. They added the 2-hit combo from Dark Souls 2, which I didn't like. I just didn't like the 2-hit combo. I don't know why, it just irked me. And they added the Bloodborne mechanic of where you invade, you have 30% less everything, and then your Ashen and regular Estus are half. I don't like that. I mean, a lot of people talk about how invaders are supposed to be at a disadvantage, but we're already disadvantaged when you can summon a goddamn small army and or use the Seed of a Tree of Giants, which is another mechanic from Dark Souls 2 that I absolutely fucking hated, and I don't know why they brought it back. Ultimately, I liked Dark Souls 3. I love Dark Souls as a whole, which is why I'm leaving it. I want to leave this on a good note. I want to leave the Souls franchise with good memories rather than continue to play a game that just ultimately in the end only really frustrates me with what could have been. I mean, if these problems are looked at and changed in the future, I might come back and continue to play. I might come back and give it a try, but as for now, I'm just gonna take a break, step away from Souls, and just more than likely maybe not come back. I mean, it sucks and it's a little sad to say, but there's not much I can do. Some of you may be wondering, you know, what you can do for your channel then. Well, as you've been watching this whole time, if you have been, I'm gonna start doing Final Fantasy 14 dungeons and PvP. Well, I'll give it PvP a try. It sucks, but my commentaries are gonna have Final Fantasy 14 dungeons in the background. But we're coming to the end of the video, so I'm gonna try and pump out 2 more videos in the next couple of days because there's so much I want to say. I want to thank you guys for sitting and listening to this. You guys are awesome, and I hope to see you next time. Remember, guys, just stay strong and take care of yourselves, because I hate to see you go hollow out there.